Boston College has a chance to change their basketball program with the most impactful transfer in their school's history.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is AJ Black. I'm the host of Locked On Boston College, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs help find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. Today, we have a big transfer portal news show with news about football, basketball, and a little bit in between. So thank you for joining us here today. Let's kick it off with our big story of the day, which has to be, who else would it be but TJ Power. Now, this native of Massachusetts, he played ball in, he's from Shrewsbury. He played ball in the area, has not named his new school yet. This is a former 5-star recruit, rated the number 14 recruit in the entire country last year before he chose Duke over Boston College and a host of other schools. But BC was always in his final grouping. Now he's in the transfer portal. And I've told you, if you follow me on Eagle Insider, sources close to our basketball writer have said things are looking good. Things are looking very good for TJ Power. So this would be monumental if they could land Power for a few reasons. First of all, it would be big for the school. How long has it been since BC in any sport other than maybe hockey has been able to land a local commitment, either transfer or true freshman from the area that is a blue chip and decided to stay here? Now, this doesn't count. Yes, I know he went to Duke for a year, but let's call that like a postgraduate year, right? He took a postgraduate year at Duke. We've seen so many recruits in Connecticut, in Massachusetts, in this area that have decided that they want to go away, and Power was one of them. He would be the crown jewel of kids staying local. This kind of ties into what Bill O'Brien's doing with football, right? You want to get some local excitement here. Power would do that. This would really solidify and show local recruits that you can play here, because my thoughts is that if TJ Power comes to Boston College, it's going to be a big deal. The school should make it a big deal because you now have a blue chip recruit. You now have a local blue chip recruit that you can market, that you can sell to the fan base and get folks excited. And this is coming at such a crucial time, because if you're a basketball fan, if you're a sicko or just someone who loves BC basketball, you're watching what's going on with the team and going, what the heck is going on? You saw Jaden Zachary go, and he just committed to Clemson this weekend. This is a kid that, from all I had heard, wanted to come play closer at home. I also heard he wanted to play for a tournament team. So Clemson was, a Sweet 16 team this year, but he's gone. You saw Claudel Harris commit this weekend, guard from BC, to Mississippi State. All the power to you, buddy. I don't know what's going on there, but go have fun. He's gone. We have Armani Mighty, who left, and he's looking at Buffalo at Towson. I think I said the name right. Towson, right? He's gone. And you have Mason Madsen at Utah. You need an infusion of excitement. Getting guys like Josh Beadle and Chad Venning are good Earl Grant moves. Like, they're good moves for him in terms of building his roster, in terms of, getting guys and bodies, because they need bodies right now, right? You can't just build your team with hopefully TJ Powers, right? You need guys that are going to bring excitement to your program, because the way things are going right now, if you're a fan, you're watching going, what the heck is going on with this team? They just took 2 steps forward. They're about to take 4 steps back. Like, the way that the roster is constituted, you look at, like, if you were to, like, spitball a roster for next year of the starting 5, you're saying to yourself, this team isn't going to win any ACC games. So the hope is, and I said this on Friday, that this is Earl Grant playing chess, not checkers. And a guy like TJ Power could really do that. You bring him in, the fans know who he is. Recruitniks at BC that follow, and there's a lot of them on my site, on Eagle Insider, they know who he is, and they know this is a very big deal. So the hope is you bring him in, then all of a sudden you can get a few other names to go along with him, and I'm going to get into the second one in part 2 of our episode today. You got something going. You have a little bit more momentum going, and I think that's a big deal. Now, this is also could be a big deal for TJ Power for a few different reasons. One, he gets to stay home. There's something about that. You hear that from players that actually do it, that it's a cool feature of playing at BC when you're from Massachusetts, that you get to play in front of your friends and family all the time. But the bigger deal to me for TJ Power is that he gets to be the man. This would be his team. He would be the star of this team. And for a kid that was the number 14 recruit, 5-star, that there's a part of every kid that's that kind of blue chip recruit that wants to be like that. They want to be the alpha dog, and there's nothing wrong with that. And he gets to do that at a school that he's a legacy of. That to me makes it a big deal for him to want to come here. I think it could happen. Now, there's an interesting little side note that could happen too, is that TJ Power is a pitcher. Played baseball. He's really good at baseball too. Have to wonder, I don't think the schedule would line up with basketball, but maybe he has some interest in playing for the baseball team too. But I have not put in a crystal ball yet for TJ Power. Not there yet. Our writer, Beacon Street Ball, he feels a lot more strongly about that. We'll have to wait and see. A guy like this, it would shock me if they had, I mean, how many times, folks, you're Boston College fans, have you seen a guy like this walk through our door? It doesn't happen. So for me, I got to see it happen before I could actually say, oh, this could happen again. So TJ Power, hopefully we'll get some news on that this week. Now, in a moment, there's another big name in the transfer portal. He's not a big name, but he hits a lot of what BC basketball needs. And I'll get into who that is and why I think he would be another slam dunk to Boston College, all in just a moment. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for your job. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board, folks. It's the whole package. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, only over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Locked On Boston College, I'm your host, AJ Black. So I hope you guys are excited about TJ Power, because I think I am too. I think I'm getting myself psyched up for a guy that could really change the feel of this upcoming season. Because, as I said, losing 6 players plus Quinton Post and leaving basically some of your underclassmen as the only guys around really kind of makes you feel kind of like next year is going to be the dregs. Like, you're just going to take a huge step backwards. But credit to Earl Grant, because I feel like he's doing a good job of continuing to work the transfer portal. And you bring in TJ Power, if that happens, and you bring in this next guy, all of a sudden you're feeling like this team could compete. This team has more excitement around it, more buzz. And the hope is that Grant and his staff can develop these players into, solid ACC contributors. And Power, you're hoping to make him a star, right? He's averaging 2.5 points per game last year. You hope he can do better than that. And you think he could, right? I mean, this is a 6'9" forward that can do a lot. So buckets that's the theme of segment number 2, buckets, because BC needs to score some buckets. They don't have that. You lost Claudel Harris, who is playing for Mississippi State now. His agent, I think it was Young Money Agency, which is crazy that Little Wayne's talent agency is scooping up BC players. But you bring these guys in, you lose these guys. Excuse me, Harrison to an extent, Jaden Zachary too, because he's a scorer. You need a scorer, and you don't really have. You have something with Claudel Harris. Not Claudel Harris, Donald Hand. You feel like maybe scoring wise, he could kind of line up with what Zachary was doing in terms of scoring per game, but you don't have that volume score that Claudel Harris does. Remember those games last year that Harris could take over when he got really hot. There was games where he was not, but there were games where he wouldn't miss anything. You need something like that. And Earl Grant is very quickly moving in the portal for someone I think would be a great fit for BC, and that is Dion Brown of UMBC. So the University of Maryland, BC. Don't know what that means. Someone's going to get in the comments and tell me what it means. I remember them. I think they're the team that beat Virginia a couple years ago. So they've got some talent. But this is a kid from Massachusetts. He played in the area before he committed to UMBC. So he's another local kid. I mean, again, you could add a second local player to your team. That's a great start. He averaged 19 points per game in his first season as a starter. You'd have 2 years of eligibility with him. So you get 2 years of this kid shooting. He shot 50% last year from the floor. He is a good shooter. He's not Claudel Harris was a 40% shooter. I think if I remember seeing Brown's 3-point shooting scoring, it was like 36, 37%. Not as good, but another local kid, a kid that can score. Then all of a sudden if you're able to bring him in, and this one, I can tell you, Brown was on campus last week. He was on an official visit on Friday. He also took an official visit to Butler on Saturday. So I know a lot of folks are like clenching their teeth on that one because like it's Butler and they've obviously been a lot better than Boston College of late. Again, my sources have told me things are looking good there too as well. But you bring him in now. It looks like you might have your starting 5 in place. You would go probably with a combination of not Claudel Harris. My gosh. Chaz Kelly, DJ Hand, Elijah Strong, Chad Venning, the new center, and you would bring in Dion Brown. That's your 5. You could also swap out Josh Beadle at some point if you think he's better, but you got 5 there. You also have room to continue to look in the transfer portal, but that gets you, right? You got your big man now. You got 2 big men, really, with Power and Venning if those 2 guys came in. You got your scorers, hopefully, with Hand and Brown. And you got Strong, who's your glue guy, who could do a lot of different things. And you then probably... you probably want to get a guy that's kind of in the frame of our Devin McLaughlin, a big body defensive kind of guy. You don't necessarily have that. And there was a guy that they were looking at. I saw recently. There's a couple guys in the portal I know that they're looking at. But Brown would be a slam dunk. This would be a guy that would, again, local. I love that. I love that feel of that, right? Like a guy that's from the area. You bring in a couple of those. You got a guy that can score, a guy that's very good. This is a big deal. This would be another big deal. So you look at what Earl Grant may be doing with the pairing of Power and Brown. You bring those guys in. That in itself feels like you're not necessarily where you were last year. I mean, losing Quinton Post is a lot. This team is not built still. I don't think so for the NCAA tournament. You got to see where Power kind of grows into, what kind of player. Because if he could turn into a star, then all bets are off. But you're feeling better. Let's put it this way. The team will probably take a step back, but it won't be a gigantic step back. Because, on our site, we've talked about this before. When you rely on a big man for your scoring, it's not the best model in the world. And the games where Quinton Post scored a ton of points. BC was only like a 500 team. I believe this. We've had the stats up on our website. You need scoring from around, and having a guy like Brown that can do that is a bigger deal. I think it's a big deal to get a guy like that, a guy that can score a lot of points for you. So what to wait to see? This one, I do have a crystal ball in. I still feel really confident that Dion Brown is going to end up at Boston College. So you can see that up on Eagle Insider. I put my rationale up. I put my crystal ball in for him. I think this one is much more likely to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, in our final segment, we're going to switch it back to football. I feel like football's taking a backseat now because things are kind of quiet, to talk a little bit about the transfer portal there, as there's news of a player coming in, one that many people have been talking about, and one that is leaving. And we'll talk about who that is and what that impact would look like. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, and baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Now, if you're like me, and if you were following my directions, last week I got a comment that someone was they loved my discussions of betting on the Red Sox. Now, hopefully you guys took that not seriously, because if you bet on them last week against Pittsburgh, you're hurting right now. So apparently the Red Sox are a road team. Maybe their next series, if they're at home or away, you can make your decision better based off of where they're at, because they seem to lose a lot at home and win on the road. So bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. This is Locked On BC. I'm your host, AJ Black. Over on Eagle Insider right now for the next 24 hours, until midnight, depending on where you're listening. We have a deal for a VIP subscription. Get over there and sign up, because we have a ton of transfer portal news. Things are starting to cook on the basketball trail and a little bit on football too. Now, we're going to talk about football transfer portal right now, because the second Boston College, only the second Boston College player to enter the portal this offseason has happened. And that is kicker Connor Litton. Now, Litton came in 2021 with Jeff Hafley and was a kicker from Virginia who started his first year for BC. If you remember that year, it was against Colgate, and everyone expected Aaron Boom to be the starting kicker. He was not. You saw Connor Litton out there, and you're like, they're putting out the freshman. 2 games later, I think it was against Missouri, he kicks that 49-yard field goal, and you're going, oh my gosh, BC has something here. And this is I am not going to bash Connor Litton at all. I thought he had times like that first year, he was excellent. He was an excellent kicker. Second year, he has moments, right? He had a couple missed kicks, but he had a couple games. I think it was Louisville and Maine where he was dead on, and he still looked like he was going to be. College kickers are college kickers. Sometimes they have struggles. Sometimes they're strong. He looked like he was still going to be your kicker moving forward until last year, where he was missing. Now, Jeff Hafley throughout spring practice said constantly that it was a positional battle between him and Liam Connor, and the winner would be the kicker. And because practices were closed last year, we couldn't see this competition. But Connor Litton got hurt during practice and never really was an option. And he was out all last year. So he redshirted last year. For many people who were wondering where he was, he couldn't even play. He was out injured. Now, Liam Connor is into year 2. He's established himself as the starting kicker. Connor Litton, I believe, is graduated. Makes a good, you got 1 more year left or whatever, 2 years. Good opportunity to go out there and find a starting job. For BC, they have other kickers. They have Luca Lombardo, who's out there too, who I think many of you probably saw during the spring game. He's got a pretty decent leg, who's the backup. So you have 1 scholarship and 1 walk-on. That's usually kind of what they do, because I believe before Litton left, Liam Connor in years past was a walk-on, and Litton was the scholarship. You may hold 2, but I think Lombardo, I believe, is a preferred walk-on. So you've got your kickers, and hopefully Litton can find himself a spot. Now, The second name is the name everybody's been asking me. It's been in the comment sections. It's been on Twitter. Everyone wants to know about Cameron Martinez, the safety from Ohio State. Now, he committed to BC when Jeff Hafley was the head coach. And he was the one player who had not shown up for spring practice. And if you followed him on social media, you saw he was still in Ohio. And folks were wondering, like, is he going to come? There's a lot of buzz. A lot of folks were like, he got bit twice by Hafley. Like, this poor guy. He committed to Ohio State for Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley leaves to BC. Hafley was his primary recruiter. He gives Hafley a second chance and commits him to him at Boston College to be a transfer, and Hafley leaves again. So I can understand if Martinez had a little bit of hesitation to go to a program that was led by Hafley after he left. He probably just wants to know the staff, and he got the chance to meet them and felt good. So I can tell you that Cameron Martinez is going to still be a Boston College Eagle this upcoming season, and that he's coming this summer. So you have your safety there. I thought the safety position looked pretty good during spring camp, but it was also a position I thought that, hey, adding some depth here wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. So Cameron Martinez is a former 4-star. He's played a little bit at Ohio State, but he gives you just a veteran presence back there that I think is sorely needed. This is a good addition. I'm glad that they're going to do that. I still think they're looking at defensive backs in the portal. I don't think it'll be safety, but it could. There's been a few names that have been popping around, and you can get all that info on Eagle Insider because I have a few names that I've known that BC's been connected with that you might want to know about. Now, on tomorrow's show, we're going to have more transfer portal news. Will we know about Power or Brown? If we do, it'll be here on the show. If not, we'll have so much more to talk about. Thank you all for listening. Make sure to follow me on Eagle Insider. Hit that like and subscribe button before you head out. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. I love seeing you guys over there. And follow us on whatever social media podcast apps. Like us, subscribe to us. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day.